This conference will now be recorded.
So can anyone help me recall what and all we covered yesterday? Database. It's not database. AWS account
Okay.
and then created one.
Account
Hello.
creation and EC2 instance creation steps and few steps which you have gone across about Linux and
So
how we
some
can
basics of, some basics of
go on.
Linux is what we covered, correct? So we'll go little further from there. So this is what I was showing you yesterday. Okay, shell and types of shells. These are basic commands. These are basic commands. Okay. So with this, there is nothing. So yesterday we are talking of something of kernel and shell, right? So this is what does shell do, or how does it help you in projected? Okay. Okay. What is actually a shell?
It's
It's kind of an environment where you will type your commands. Interpretation happens at the hardware, but that interface between you and the hardware is provided by the kernel. So if you see this diagram, yesterday I was telling you the circle diagram which I told you that I'll show you later is this diagram. The innermost core would be the hardware. Who can touch base with the hardware or who can interact with the hardware? It's kernel. So that is why it is at the next level. But who can interact with the kernel directly? Shell. Through what? Through the commands that it provides. So where are the binaries or the commands reside? Outermost shell. The utilities that is shown on the light blue color, right? That is nothing but your command set. Okay. Those are the commands which you will use as a person through shell, interact with the hardware via kernel, and kernel will help you do that. Okay. The same way, once after it is processed, it gives you back some result that is thrown again on the shell environment. Okay. So this is all about an interface which will give you between the Unix system and you as a person. Okay. So what it tries to take input as some command. Okay. Give you some output which is understandable by you and take some action. Okay. So there are types of shells again. It's not just one. The black and white screen that you saw me yesterday typing some commands, executing something and all, it's one type of shell. Similarly, we have 3 to 4 types of shells. The first one being the very basic, what we call it out as is Bourne shell. Okay, nowadays no one uses Bourne shell. And the second one that we have is a corn shell. Third one is born again shell. The difference between each of these is nothing but the age. Like the bare minimum is the born shell. Okay. The next one would be like if suppose it was invented in the way back in 1980s or something. Actually, I don't know when it was invented, but supposing that if it was invented in 1980, corn shell would have been in 1985, 1990, and they had some more features embedded in corn shell, and there are some more features that are coming up with the recent times. That is why we started to use Bourne shell. And the most important feature why we use Bourne shell is because, or bash we call, born again shell is the full form. It's because of its robustness and more secure. When you compare with the very basic Bourne shell versus the bash, it is more robust and secure. Okay. And there is something called as C shell, which is used for C program compilations and all. Okay, so there is some specific purpose to which why we pick up or choose one kind of shell or environment. If you are not comfortable understanding shell, think of it as an environment for you to work with. Security in the sense like there is some SSH. In the previous thing, it is just a shell you need to connect to a machine. Now we have RSH as well, remote shell, which is not available in the Bourne shell. So there are new features being brought in terms of security. Okay, and they have some kind of layers as well, layers of abstraction through which
we're looking for voice technology.
As well. Come in. Is there anyone outside? Unable to see ya. People on the call, are you still unable to see my screen, or is that issue?
Okay. It's visual.
Sorry? Okay, fine. Okay. So where are we? The difference between Bourne shell and born again shell. It is nothing but we have more robust features as well as security embedded in born again shell. Okay, the default that Linux or the Ubuntu machine gives us is born again shell. I'll show you in a some time, like 5-10 minutes, which is the default shell. How do we switch between shells and all? But think through that it is just an environment to work with. Okay, but in any kind of shell, you will be able to run through the same commands. Okay, but easiness is what we look for. Okay. So this is what we were talking about, the Unix file system, which I will show you practically on the machine. Not able to see this. How do I come out of this? Escape is not working. Should minimize now. Okay, I think it is working now. Okay, what did we do now? We just logged in into a Ubuntu machine. What and all are the things that we require to log in into a machine? Sorry. See, if you see here, you have all the answers here. SSH -i, this is a PEM file. Okay, this is the username. This is the EC2 machine, right? So you require a username, you require a machine name to connect to, and what is this PEM file? It's nothing but your password. Think through that it is a password. I'll tell you more about PEM in detail later. For you to log in, after you log in into some Windows box or something, you need to enter your username as well as your password. But did you see me entering any password for Ubuntu? No, which is nothing but this PEM file is giving you that flexibility or the password. Okay, I here means interactive. Okay, so this is the command. The other alternative to machine name, as I was telling you yesterday, the moment you get registered into a school or a college, you get your roll number, ID or something. or to a company you get your employee ID or something, right? So other alternative to machine name is nothing but your IP address. IP address looks like this. Host name. Host name is different. Host name is nothing but this. Host name is this. This is IP address. Okay. So if you think through this, it has 4 numbers. Okay. Each number has a specific meaning. Okay. But for you to understand, think through this. A college or a company is under some district or something, or some if I suppose a company is like widespread across geographical locations, they will number it saying that okay, this is number 1, first office, second office, third office, right? So that you can think through as the first one. Okay. And after it, what comes? Even within one city, you may have 3-4 branches, right? So that consideration they want to put it in second. But like that, if you divide, the final number will be something like where you go and study. Okay, same way, the IP numbering also has 4 stages. Right now, we will call a machine using a name, which we call it as host name, or domain. It's not the domain name is different. Host name, or else we call it out as IP address. IP means Internet Protocol. It is a protocol through which you log in into a server. Just like SSH is a protocol, HTTP is a protocol, HTTPS is a protocol, right? So it is all about how you connect and what purpose you are trying to achieve. Okay. For now, just understand that how do we connect to a machine? It is through SSH. SSH full form, if anyone asks you, tell them that it is secure shell. The meaning itself has security embedded in it. The next thing is SSH is not the only way through which you can connect to a machine. There are other ways as well, like remote shell. Even WinSAP tool provides you to log in into something. Similarly, even the tool that you are seeing, the black and white screen, I am using some tool called putty_nd. Doesn't mean this is the only way. You can use MobaTerm, Super Putty, something called as Git Bash. Many other ways are there to log in into the same machine and get your things done. Okay. It is only your easiness. I feel this is comfortable, I use it. You feel something else is comfortable, you use it. But the ls command that you type and I type will all be the same. Result will be the same. Getting it? Okay. So with that said, all that we require is basic is SSH username @ server name or machine name, host name, all mean the same. Okay. If I have to say server name, SSH server name, and then through a login, that is what is -l. There are multiple ways that you can connect to a machine. There are like, this is what we call it out as argument. Okay, -l and username. The one that I told you before, SSH -i pem file username @ machine name is another way. Okay. Similarly, if I need to connect to some port, port means a channel through which I can listen or answer. Okay. So I need a port for it. Think through that port is just a channel for you. Okay, it's a kind of a tunnel through which there is an entry and an exit. You get an input and an output only through that channel. Okay, root or else to simply understand. Okay, for that, if my organization is making me use only one port to connect to a machine, I need to provide the port number as well. How do I provide it? Through the flag or argument called -p, and provide whichever port it is. Okay, all these details will be given by your system administrator. Okay, if you are not aware of which port to connect, you just straight away go to him, ask him which port to connect, what is the username, what is the IP address or whatsoever, get all the details, start using the same command. Okay, and then suppose I know the username, I can straight away log in, and I can log in using a Ubuntu user and then switch myself to root user, right? Can I do it the first step itself? Instead of going into Ubuntu user and then switching myself as root, can I straight away log in as root? Yes, but this is the way that I log in. Instead of server name, I am giving here some IP address. These are all not the original ones. They are just random ones to show you some example. Okay. So SSH, IP address, login using a username called root. But what is compulsion here? Password. Root password is very restricted. It's not shared between all the users. Only system admins will have that password. Okay. And then this is the one that I said, SSH -i, whatever the PEM file, and then the username and server name or machine details. Okay. What is PEM full form? If anyone asks you, tell them that it is privacy enhanced mail. It is a kind of certificate or password or what you say, other ways to say password, what secret key, whatever, right? So this is the full form of PEM file. Okay. This is one kind of private key also you can say. Public key is visible to all. Private key is only for people who want to restrict or do not want to share their password. If you see some PEM file, everything is like garbled text or alphanumeric. You will not be able to memorize until you are very intelligent. Okay, let me show you my PEM file, for example. It is this way. No one would be able to capture anything. Everything is, this is what we call it as encryption. The actual password will be something like password, okay, secret, something, but it will convert everything to this kind of format. That is what we call it as PEM file. And there are encryption algorithms that you should not be bothered about. Okay, there are lots of encryption algorithms that will generate this kind of PEM file. Okay, that you don't bother about, but it will give you some kind of key which is like not easily memorized. Okay, so that is all about how you connect to a machine. Okay, once after I connect to the machine, I will be able to get to a screen this way. This is what we call it out as shell. Nothing but an environment to work with. With what? As an interface with the machine. Don't call hardware. Hardware is like very generic. Okay. It's okay to start to use the word, but going further, stop using the word called hardware. Okay. Anyone has any doubts until now here, until this time, until this moment at least? Private. There are two. I will tell you. Whatever I'm explaining, concentrate only to that level. Whatever is necessary, I will tell you. Whatever questions you have, kindly wait for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I will show you. Or else, if you don't even get it answered, come back and ask me during the breaks. Okay? Okay. I will understand that no one has any questions, right? With respect to SSH, how do you log in? Okay, fine. Once after you log in, what do you have to do? You have some problems, right? You need to ask and work with the system, get it solved. Something like I want to know today's date, right? That itself, think through that is the simplest problem. What do? You need some command to work with. That command is nothing but what we call it out as utility. Okay, that utility is what I shown you in the outermost shell. Okay, who uses that utility? We as a person, and interact with the system using shell. Okay, so if I have something called want to know about date, calendar or something, I just type cal. That is the command. Okay, or the utility. If I want to know the date, just type date. If I want to know time, these are all related to system, time, date functions only. That is why I'm covering all these things in one time. Okay, and here calendar is self-explanatory. For the present month, you get some calendar. Okay, today's date you will be able to get it. But the time you see, there are three different users: real user, system user. Okay, and how much is the response time you are getting this output? That is what is time. Time doesn't mean that what is the system time right now. It is 8:33 something, not that one. That is told by the date. Okay, and understand that it will not tell your local time. It will tell you the time where this machine is hosted. This machine is coming from the cloud, present somewhere else, not in India, right? So that is why it is showing you that date, not our Indian time. Okay, but if you have your Ubuntu installed on your local machine, not the one that is hosted on the cloud, it will show you the IST time. Getting the difference? Okay, and the time will tell you the response time of any command. Okay, suppose that I hit ls and then say time. The use I am telling you, the use of time command. ls will tell me that this is the output. Okay, some output. Forget about if you don't understand what ls is also. Okay, it gives me some output. But how much faster am I able to execute that command? How much? If suppose I have a lengthier program, it will show me something in 10 seconds, something and all. But this is finishing off in no time. That is why I'm seeing everything in zeros. Okay, but if I have a program to execute, subprograms module in it, it will take some nightly build for it to complete. Suppose, for example, anything to get compiled, it will take 10 minutes to hours. Bare minimum of 10 minutes to hours. So that is the time it will show you something as 10 minutes, this many seconds or something like that. But for now, everything is zero. So the usefulness of time command is to know how much time it took to execute any command. Okay. Any questions with these three? These are the three commands that we frequently use with respect to time, date, and all. Okay. Next, as because you asked about host name, right? We'll start to discuss about host name. Host name itself is a command that will tell you about what is the machine's name. Okay. But this is like not so understandable. But if you want some IP address of this machine, are you able to figure out what the IP address is? No, right? So what is the command for it? Hostname minus I. Okay. We will see another variation. Both are the same. Okay. Either you can use small I or capital I. Okay. There is something called as host. Something wrong? Oh, I need to provide some argument. Suppose like see, I will use a command which is like host with some argument. This argument's explanation is something like here, print version number and exit. Okay, it is doing the same thing. Ubuntu so and so version, so and so host command, but you are not able to get anything, right? So the appropriate command should be used to get the relevant output. Host is also one kind of output itself, but does it make any sense to us? No. For us to use in shell programming or anything as such, right? We can't memorize the IP address, right? So that is the time you use this command called hostname minus I, put it in a proper file, list of commands, and then execute the script. In script, nothing is like hard-coded. Hard-coded means the value that you are seeing is not constant. It comes generated on the fly. Whenever you connect to a Ubuntu box, you get some random IP. Yesterday, that is what we discussed. The moment you shut down your machine and restart it, another IP will come. So will you keep on modifying the script? No, you should use some command and make it automated. So these are the commands that you use in the script and then call it out as bash script and then automate your tasks. That is nothing but your shell scripting. The ones that I am teaching you the commands, you will cherry pick in some fashion or in proper order, put them all in a file, and that is what you call it out as shell scripting. Okay, so learn the commands first strongly, and you will be able to do shell scripting with no difficulty. Okay, so with respect to host name, machine name or whatsoever. These are the primary commands that you need to understand. Okay. And next, there is something called uname. Which kind of operating system it is? Linux machine. Okay. Uname minus m will tell you what kind of architecture it is in. Okay. Yesterday I was telling you while picking up the machine itself, x86. You have seen while creating the launch instance, you have some architecture defined. What kind of bits it is? 64-bit machine with some x86 architecture and all. So is it returning you the same thing? 64-bit and x86, right? So the command to let you know is uname minus m. The other one is a, which will tell you about the all. A means all. Okay, it tells you about which operating system, which IP address it is, where it is hosted, what is the Ubuntu flavor, operating system flavor. After that, it tells you the system date, time, art. Here you see x86 64 repeated thrice. I don't know why, but it's okay. GNU Linux, complete listing of its architecture, date, time, everything gets come as an output with uname minus a. Okay, there is another called n. It's only about machine IP, but it is not IP address as you see because you have hyphens in between. Okay. Okay. Having said this, you are able to run some commands. Supposing that you don't know, you know only about the command. So for example, I need to know something about the machine. I can't memorize all the arguments that I am typing here, right? There are many which I don't know as well. I know only about 3 to 4. Okay. For things which I don't know, there should be some kind of documentation where I can refer to. Always you can't rely on Google because in companies nowadays they are saying it is security and I'm blocking all the websites. So how do you refer to any documentation? That is the time when you say man pages. Man pages means manuals. Okay, this no one can stop. Okay, it comes along with the operating system. The only thing that you need to know is man space whatever the command. For example, uname itself because we are working with that command. It gives you the man page. Now suppose I said minus a means all, right? If I don't know, I will go refer this documentation and say, okay, minus a means all. Okay, I used something called as minus n, which is nothing but node name, which node nothing means machine name itself. Okay, and then here minus m is machine name. Okay, similarly, if you want to know something about the processor, it will be minus p. If you want to know which version of this manual it is, hyphen v. So there are ways that you can explore this documentation. Okay, so if you are, but the bare minimum you need to know is command. Arguments, manuals will help you. Okay, manuals will also help you in other way. What way? After you reach to the bottom, if suppose that you find that uname is not the appropriate command, it will give you suggestions as well. Like for example, man ls. You come to the bottom. Okay, and you get to see also the full documentation available here. There is some help text. Getting it? So if you are not aware of full, okay, ls doesn't have much. See, if you want to highlight some color kind of other things are also it is prompting. So you need to go into the documentation to get to an understanding of or deeper understanding of each command. Okay, but bare minimum you need to know. Okay, I should disable this sound first. I can't mute it, but if I mute, people in the call will not be able to listen. Okay, fine. So you're able to work through some basic commands and then You also have an understanding like if you need some help, you need to refer to some manual pages. Okay. Shell and its types and file structure. And okay. The next topic that we will discuss is about file structure or Linux folder structure. Yesterday we were talking about the root directory. Underneath it you have many and all, right? So I logged in as user called Ubuntu. I log in with some username means what? I will default be in some workspace or location. Which location I will be in? Home directory. Home directory for what? Of that particular user. Home directory for any user will be defined as how? /home/username, right? How do I get to know? PWD, present working directory, right? You're able to see, right? Now, this is the default location. If you log in as Ubuntu user, you will be here. But if you log in as you, because your operating system is hosted on your private box, you will be able to see as /home/ whatever your username it is. Okay. Don't get confused like why I'm not able to see Ubuntu. Getting it? Next. For root user, how do I switch? Sudo -i. Okay. This is one option. I again means interactive. Okay. Sudo, this is second option. If I know the username -username as well. Sudo su-root, which will take me to root user. See, the moment I hit enter, it took me to root user. Now, if you ask me, where will I be? In /root. /root is the home directory for root user. But there is still a parent directory, right? Parent directory means one level upper, one level above, right? How do I achieve? cd dot dot. Okay. cd command will take me to the home directory by default. Okay. cd dot dot will take me to the immediate parent directory. There is a difference. Okay. This is like /root. But if I need to go to the parent directory, it is this. Now if I say ls, all the directories that are underneath the slash that I was showing you in my PPT yesterday are bin, dev, etc, home, lib folder, proc folder. These are the some important directories. Okay, but never ever mess around with these folders. Okay, it will corrupt your operating system entirely. Okay. Yesterday we were speaking something on var log messages, system logs. Correct. So for that one, how do I reach? Var log messages. But right now, where am I? In slash, right? But after slash, what comes? Var. Is my var directory available here? Available. cd2. Okay. And then log. So if I keep on typing tab, you'll get the help again. Auto completion is enabled. Okay. Log. The next thing is messages, but messages is not a directory, it's a file, right? So even if it shows you, it will not. Why? It is a file. We are looking for a directory using cd command. So it will give you sound, but it will not give you any auto completion help. The thing that you need to do is put a semicolon or cd to this and then say vim to messages. Or don't I have anything? I don't have that file at all generated still. Okay. So that is why it is not showing me. It's okay. There is something like this. You see this. Okay. This is also a system log. At what time of the day, which IP machine, which thing got happened, with kernel something happened. Okay. Everything it tries to log in. Log. That is what is system log. The same thing is for messages as well. okay, but slightly elaborated. Okay, if you want to quit, just say colon Q exclamatory mark. Okay, enter. So this is all about how you play around or move between directories. Okay, so where am I right now? Under root. Okay, so can I create any file here? But you can, but you should not. Okay, don't create anything under slash. If you want to create anything, create underneath the home directories of some user, which means what? You can go to cd to root and then create if you want anything here. Okay, if you want to put even a movie file also, put it underneath here. Okay, but whose ownership will it have, or who is taking the control of the file, or who owns that particular file? Root user. Okay, so understand with which user you are logging into the machine and with which user you are creating that particular file, folder, whatsoever. That person has the ownership. Okay, doesn't mean that today I create with one user and I will not be able to change the ownership. I can change the ownership later date. Okay, there are commands to do that as well. Okay, fine. So before we, okay, I told you about how to get to see the system directories and all, right? Each one has its own purpose. Okay, your home directories and all will reside under home / home. Underneath it, see, there are two people already. Okay, one with default user Ubuntu and I created one user. Okay, so that is it. Now, just like how a person like Ubuntu is created, I need to create one more user, suppose. Because we told yesterday, or we spoke yesterday about multi-user environment is what Linux is all about, right? There are n number of people who can log in into the machine at the same time and work. So what are the commands that will help me create a user account? That is also needed, right? So we'll see first command, user add. These commands will also be helpful in your Ansible because you need to create usernames, roles and all. Okay, so these commands will again be helpful again at a later date. Okay, user add and what? Username. Suppose that I'm creating a username this way. User is created. Okay, if I have a username, he should also have a password. Without password, nothing works, right? So how do I create a password? PASSWD and then the username. The username will be the same person. Just like how you provide password twice, even for your while creating your email accounts and all, you need to give a secure password twice. Okay, so that is what it said, password updated successfully. Okay, now the user is created. I should be able to see his home directory. Where will the home directory be? /home/ /home/ this particular username, right? Okay, let's check. Not there. etc. Home directory should be in /home/ username. /etc/ what will it show? All the usernames are there. grep2. Okay, I have this person, I have this UID, GID, his home directory, but it's in red, which means it is not available, right? Correct. So understand, the moment I create a user ID, only user account is created. The next command that I ran is password. So only his password is generated, but nothing else is done. That is why you are able to see it in red. The command that you told me right now, tells me about all the users already available and in use in this operating system. But remember, all these people are not like these two people. There are multiple users who will do multiple functionality or their roles they will play. Okay, but no one is exposed outside. No one knows about LP. No one knows about man. No one knows about games. These are all users only. There is something called daemon user also. But only thing that we are aware is about a root user, Ubuntu user, and mine, whoever I created. Okay. So while creating the account itself, you need to pass so many arguments. What are those arguments? Username, password, his home directory, the shell where he works in. The black and white screen that you are seeing, I defined it that it should be bash shell. So I should define for that particular user which shell to use, which group will he fall in. Okay, so all these things are important while creating a user account. That is why you are not able to see his home directory. Okay, but for now understand that for any user these two things are mandatory, username and password. After that, if I want to remove him, he's leaving the organization, so how do I delete? Same, user add, user del. Okay, user del and then username is gone. Okay, now if I run the same command, it will not show you any output. Getting it? Next. Okay, a little about the file structures and all you understood, right? Okay. So this command, cat command.
So what we need to do to count that in the home directory?
I should pass an argument called -d and provide the home directory for me. Directory. -d is for directory. -s is for shell. I'll come in a moment. Okay. I want to show you some basic commands first. After I finish off this basic commands, every basic command that I am showing you right now will be helpful in the entire formation of the command. That is how I want you to take. Okay. So I'll explain you something on cat command. Okay. I'll exit off from the root user. I don't want to be as a root user. I will be as Ubuntu user. Right now, the moment I exit, what would be my present working directory? His home directory. Okay. Can I create any files inside this one? Yes. Can I create any directories inside this one? These are all my area, right? I can play around. Okay. The first command that we will talk about is creating a directory. Okay. I already have some, but okay. I'll create one directory for you, which is like with today's date. What is date today? 6th October, suppose. Okay. I created one directory. How do I get to see it? ls. ls is for list. ll is for long list. Okay. It will tell you the whole details of it. These are the directory or file permissions. I'll come to it in a moment. This is the username. This is the group name. This is the size. This is the date. Okay. The dot and the double dot that you are seeing, dot means current directory, double dot means parent directory. But don't bother about it. That will be default for any directory that you create. Okay. You need not to work with them directly. Okay. And then there are few files and folders. How do you differentiate? If you ask me, the one that I created is this. Okay. 06 October. How do I know it is a directory? Starting with D. If I have any file or a folder or anything as such with a initial character as D, which means a directory representation. Okay, that is one way. Nowadays, people started saying by color coding. So if I have anything in color as blue, that is a directory. That is the other way. If I have anything in white, it is a file. Okay. If I have anything in green, it is executable. Okay. I have 777 permission, right? It has also execute permission. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you. there are 3 permissions for 3 different users. Okay, so understood at least how to figure out what a file is, what a directory is, right? Next, we will get into the directory. I have to change my directory right now. To get into the directory, what is the command for it? CD. CD means change directory. Okay, so right now I am in file size for it is same 4096 bytes. Don't bother, you have enough space for it. You have 8 GB space. This is just in bytes.
No, just I'm asking one thing. What are 96?
4096 sir.
No, sir.
Uh,
First one.
96 sir. Total of 96 files are there, including these files, directories, files underneath the directory, everything counted. You have 96 files. In Linux, everything is a file, right? So it tells you the sum total of everything. Okay. What I wanted to tell. Getting into the directory CD2 06 October. Do I have anything right now? No. I need to start creating. What I can create inside? Files and even directories, right? If I have to create directory, again the same command, mkdir. There is no separate command for creating another subdirectory. Okay, command remains the same. Okay, suppose if I have to create a file, what is the command to it? Touch. Touch and the touch and file name. Okay, so if I am creating some text file, it is touch and 23.txt file, suppose. But am I able to make any data reside inside it? No. But is the file available? Yes. So if I have to make or write some data into it, that is the time I use VI editors, nano editor or whatsoever, and then write something into it. Right now, we will use something called as Vim. Again, the file name. Okay. Something, some text, and then I save it. Okay. I'll tell you how to use Vim editor again, the shortcuts to use and all. But right now, I made some data also reside inside the file. Okay. Now, if I want to see what I have saved inside the file, that is the time I have to use cat. Cat means concatenation. Okay. Cat 23.filename or 23.text. Okay. That is the time it will show me, okay, this is the data that you saved. Okay. Now, what is the use of echo then? So if I say echo.23.txt, what will it say? Txt. So whatever I pass as an argument here, that would be the result. Okay. The other alternative or other advantage, if you ask me for echo, yesterday we were using $? Right? What is the use? Once after I execute any Linux command or program, shell program or whatsoever, if I want to know for sure through automation that if my command execution or program execution completed successfully without any warnings or errors, if I want to figure out without running something, that is the time I need some provision for it. Right now the command is $ and a question mark. It will tell me something called 0, which means successfully completed. If it shows me 1, that is the time, or non-zero, it's not just 1, it is non-zero as well, that is the time we need to understand that my automation failed, my nightly build failed, my CI/CD pipeline failed, or anything as such. Okay, getting to it. So that is the use of echo statement or echo command. Okay, and then cat is to display the contents of a file. Okay, can I say touch 1, 2, 3 this way? So you can create multiple files also in a single tool. Okay, so that is one more use of touch. And then, but can I modify all three files just like how I use touch through Vim this way? No, it is only the first argument that I pass will get modification. So if I say Vim1, only file 1, I can write some data and commit to it. Okay, but not all three at once. Okay, and next, what does Vim mean? Modified VI editor. Okay, VI is the basic, just like how you had bash versus born again shell. Okay, this is like much more advanced, you can say. And what are the other editors that you have? You have nano editor, you have Emacs, there are multiples. You can use whichever you are comfortable. Okay, I'm not putting any restriction as well, or neither the operating system does so. So you're able to understand till now: creation of folder, creation of file, displaying its content, modifying if I just create a file. Okay, and if I have to clear a screen, I have to say clear, or else Control L is other way. But if you want a command, that is the thing. Okay, what else to cover in basics? ls. If I am in a directory, I am saying ls command is for listing. The list output tells me what and all are the files or folders that are underneath a present working directory. But suppose I need some more details of each file. ls-l is one option. ls-l or r is another option, recursive. Okay, ls-t is other option that tells me about what? Time in specific. Okay, if I want to combine all of them, like the arguments that I am passing individually, can I do so? Yes. Any command, if it has multiple arguments, you can combine all of them and then say in one simple command itself -lrt. Okay, and if you see ls minus lrt and ll, long list command, they result you in almost the same output except the first two lines, right? Of course, the order is also different. One came at the last, here one comes in the beginning. Okay, so this is what we call it out as wrapper scripts. The base command being ls minus lrt, people wanted something more out of something more than ls minus lrt, and they came up with another utility called ll. Getting it? So that is why we call the base script as, or base utility as, ls with some arguments, but they wanted something additional, something more, right? So that is why they wrote using Ubuntu is open source, right? So they pulled out the source code, written some code for it, for which one? For ll, and they pushed in that code again, and they gave you the feature called ll. Okay, fine. Now I have all of this. If I want to delete something or remove something, right? Which one? rm. Rm is for remove or rename? Remove. Okay, suppose if I want to remove a file called 3, it's gone, right? Remember, once it is gone, it's gone. It is not irrecoverable. Okay, so what do you need to do in organization as a part of automation? Okay, every organization keeps this as a best practice. Whatever the user home directories are, they constantly take a backup of all the data that is available under the home directories, because people write code whatsoever within their home directories only, right? So what the system administrator will do, every 1 hour or every 4 hours, depending upon the criticality or the storage space available, they take a call. Every 1 hour, every 4 hours, something, they take a backup of all the home directories. So this is something which is doable through automation. Okay, base command, if you ask me, it is nothing but using a utility called zip of what? Some folder structure, right? But if you put it in proper fashion, that is nothing but becoming a script for you, that we call it out as shell script, bash script, and you put it in a every 4 hour interval, run the same command. Getting it? That is what is automation. Okay. Okay, coming back to our base command. So that is why commands are more important for us. Okay. Now, the file that is deleted is anyway not recoverable. Okay, fine. Cat ls vim. What else is left? ls minus lrt. Okay, ls minus lart. A means all. Okay. Now, this ll command versus the ls minus lart command. Any difference? No. So the difference that you should understand is ls minus lrt will not display all the hidden files. Okay. Even the hidden files, if you want to see, that is the time. These are what we call it out as hidden. Okay. So if you want to see anything which is hidden as well, then you need to say all, and then pass on another flag or argument called a. A means all. Getting it? Next. So if you see in our home directory, especially cd, see, you will, as a normal person without LART as an argument, you will not be able to see XORT, bash history, bash logout, bash RC, something like your profile, right? These are configured for each user. We call them as profile files, configuration files, you can say, or whatever you define inside this kind of dot profile files or dot bash RC. RC means resource content files. Okay, bash is the environment or the kind of shell that you are logging into. Okay, this vim info means what? How your vim should behave, how the vim should color out something. You define all of those profile information or config related information in this particular file and keep it hidden. Why hidden? Suppose if you delete by mistake, gone, right? So you will not be able to recover is what I told, right? So that is why these people have marked it as dot and then the file name. And suppose you give access to your home directory for some other person tomorrow. Though he is an expert, he should not modify the content, right? So that is why another reason why they kept it for security reasons as hidden. Okay. So just understand those. And this is one directory which is of importance to you. .ssh folder. Yesterday we were discussing about the .pem file. Today also we are discussing about the pem file password and all, right? All that SSH password information is residing here in a file known as authorized keys as well as known hosts. Okay. If you say vim and then say authorized, you will have some content. This is the same content that we saw before as garbled text and all I was telling, right? No one will be able to memorize it. Remember, that is the same thing. Okay. I don't want to touch it, so I came exited. But remember that anything with dot has some not normal importance, little higher importance, and you should not be playing around with those kind of files and directory structures. Okay. Anything that you create, as a directory or file, you can play around. Understood? Okay. Now I will exit out of this .ssh directory as well. I'm not in .ssh. I came out. I am in my home directory. I will go to the one that I created. Okay. And then I will create a file, or I will use some file which is already existing, something as 1. Suppose if I want to rename 1 itself to 10, how do I do? MB. Not rename, REN. It's MB only. Move. Move will tell you or has importance for 2 reasons. One is moving a file name to something else as well, first thing. And the second thing is moving the folder structure also. Okay. It's not just renaming a file. It can rename the directory in which it is present as well. Suppose that if I want to rename this particular file from 1 to 10, what I will say? Now I will not see 1. I will see 10. But will the content get changed? No, content whatever I saved previously will remain the same. Okay. Suppose if for some reason I doubt on the command that MV will work the way I want it or not, I need a copy of it, right? So how do I do that one? That is the time you use CP command, copy command, and then say copy which file, and then set PAK or whatever, or backup, something. Okay. Now you will have two files. One is 10 and 10.backup. So now even if you play around with 10 and if it gets deleted also by mistake, you still have the copy called 10.backup. Okay. This is how people generally started to version control their source files when Git, Perforce, or SVMs were not available. Version controlling systems were not available. Just like how you use it to do your college projects and all. Right? After you develop some today's work, something, you take a copy, put it in floppy drive, something of that sort, right? This is also a similar way. Right? This is how people used to save programs. But nowadays we have much more advanced tools to do the same. Okay. But as an immediate copy, you can do this as well. Okay. Next. Suppose that my file is present in /October 6th October file name. What is the other use that I was telling you? The file is in Ubuntu 06 October and the file name is 10. I'll move the backup file. Okay. To the home directory itself. I will not put it in 6 October. Okay. Then what I have to say? This is my source directory. What should be my target one? It should be the same with the file name. Okay. What am I trying to do? Not copying, moving the file itself. Okay. Here now the backup file will not be seen. Where it will be there now? It will be available just underneath my home directory. Okay. Okay. Think of this MV. This I will put it back again to 6 October, but with a slightly different format of a command. If I say dot, I'm not saying what file name it is, right? Copy happened, but is there any difference?
Current working directory.
Not present working directory. Dot means present working directory is fine. But if I don't mention the file name, whatever the file name that I am trying to pass in my source will exactly be the same in my target directory. I need not to repeat. But here what am I doing? 10.backup, 10.backup. But lazy folks like me don't want to repeat the same things, right? So that is when these kind of shortcuts came into picture. Getting it? So this is another way that you can use the move command. Okay, start exploring more and more by reading the manuals and all. Google something more. The examples that I show you, practice, try something more. Okay, that is the time you will get to know more arguments and all. Okay, more usages and all. Okay. Okay, with this move, copy, rename, ls, long listing, hidden files, basic directory creation. Okay, now removing a directory itself. We have spoken about removing a file, but how do I remove a directory? mkdir means make directory, right? So if I have to remove a directory, it is just rmdir. Just like how you used rm for removing a file, now the removing a directory just means rmdir. The only thing that you need to do is rmdir and then provide some directory name. But remember that I don't have a directory called this. So it should what? Throw me an error saying no such file or directory. I don't have the directory, right? So it should throw me an error. Now, if I say $, it is with 1. Why? My previous command was not successful. Getting it? So if I have something in my automation which failed with this error message, my automation should also have this command as a follow-up command and say, if it returns 1 as an output, it should tell me that, oh, user who you are trying to run this automation has failed for this particular reason. That is how you write program and all. Okay? Getting it? Okay. Someone was asking something. Hi. Okay. Any questions till now? I'm just covering the basics. Nothing complicated till now I covered. Okay. Okay. Now we will go a little deeper. This command we will use straight away. Cat is to display the contents of something. What is that something? I am trying to output the content of OS release. Okay. Remember that this is a system file again. Okay. What does it show me? It shows some name, version, ID, home URL, something called version codename, Ubuntu codename and all. These are all related to something with the system specific, not the user specific or user created content. So that is why it will reside in /etc directory. Okay. Can you as a person make a modification to OS release? We'll just check how. To figure that out, we have a command called ls-lrt and then the file name. Okay, just see, you have write, sorry, this is L is a special file, that's okay. Read, write, execute. You have read, write, execute, read, write, execute three times. So here you need to understand permissions are in full, but it is repeating thrice, which means this file has got access to 3 different types of users. That is why it is repeating. Okay, so what are those kind of 3 users? Those 3 users are nothing but UGO we call. First one being user, who is nothing but you. Okay, there is some group of people who can access, just like our system account. Yesterday we were talking about all the people in the team will have one account, but not individual. Even that person can, if he has a group account or a service account, even that person can do it. Others means anything apart from users and groups. Okay, so there are 3 people who will generally have access to the file structure, file or the directory, but each person again will have permissions: read, write, execute. Okay, so I will copy paste the same thing. Even the group has the same permission, or others also may have all permissions. But suppose if you see something called hyphen, which means what? For others, execute permission is not available. So if he wants to execute a Perl file or a Python file or an automated script or anything as such, he can't execute. But however, he has permissions to read the content, make modification to the content again. Okay. Similarly, if groups doesn't have write permission, he can only read through the content and he can only execute. Okay. A user, if he doesn't have read permission, but has only write and execute, what does that mean? A person will be able to write by default when he has the read permission, right? So even if I cut short the read permission, doesn't matter. Correct? I should know what I'm trying to modify, right? So which means I by default have inherited read permission, right? So that is the understanding. Okay, so there are 3 groups of people: user, group and others, who will have individually read, write and execute permissions. Okay, whatsoever permission is available for that particular user can do that kind of operation. Okay, now we'll get a little deeper on read, write, execute. Read, write, and execute. Can suppose today I have full permissions on this particular file. You are seeing this already. Read, write, execute. Similarly, I don't want to modify this particular file because it's a system related file, but we will play around with the files that we have already created. You are able to see hyphen, which means it's a file, first one. Okay. Read, write is available, but not execute. Why? It is a text file. It is not a Perl file, C file, C++ file, or a jar, var, or anything as such. It is not a binary as well. Okay. But if I have to give that text file also as a permission to execute, to run something, right? I have to give that extra permission called execute permission. Correct? So how do I give that one? Chmod, change modification. Okay. But change modification should also have some arguments. How do I calculate that arguments? For that, a little math is required. Very basic mathematics like addition. Okay. The first one that you see, x, is nothing but 2 power 0. I can't write power 0, but think too that it is 2 power 0 is what? 1. Okay. Right. 2 power 0 is over, next to 2 power 1. Okay. For right, 2 power 1 means 2. Read, which means 2 power 2. So which means I need 4. If a file has read, write, execute all three, which means I need to sum all these up. 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is equal to 7. Okay. Suppose if I see hyphen here, and if I see read and execute, which means this is gone and only 5 is available. Okay. So the same value I need to provide as an argument to the chmod command. Now I have read and write, but if I want to provide execute as well for it. Okay. So what I have to do? Now I already have 4 plus 2, 6. I need to make it 7. So I will say chmod 7. I don't want to change the permissions for other two people. It remains the same, which means 6 6 as well, right? So I'll continue using the same thing. Oh no, sorry, 5. 4 plus 2, 6 6. Okay. And then which file name it is? Okay. Now if you see, the color also got changed, and you are able to see something called as star, which means it's an executable. Okay. And even if you see here, it got some X beside the R and W, which means this file now has execute permission for user group. User group means you in a sense like Ubuntu user, because Ubuntu is the person who logged in. Okay. Suppose if I want to give permission for group as well, I can use the same command and then say 776 and the file name. Okay. It has got one extra permission, but here you see X is not there for others. Okay, this is the way that you use chmod. Now, I used a shortcut here, which is nothing but exclamatory LL, which means what? As a shortcut, it comes by usage. The last run command with LL gets repeated again. I don't have to rewrite the whole 100 lines. For now, I have only 2 characters, but this will be helpful when you run a lengthier command. You just need to type the first word of the entire set with an exclamatory mark. Okay. Other way is, I used LL command previously. I want to repeat it. That is why I used exclamatory and LL. That is the explanation. Okay. Now, I have something called history. History means all the commands that I started to use since the beginning of the shell's usage or life. Okay. If you see, I started off with so many commands in the morning. Okay. Everything is getting logged here. Okay. But if I want to repeat that command which is in 247th line, I just have to say colon 247. That is another shortcut. Okay. If anyone wants to do task simple without any complicated ways, these are the shortcuts. Okay. If I want to do something called SCP, SCP is not a short command. SCP minus R, give the source, give the target, give the machine IP, all of those things. If I want to repeat all of that stuff, I will simply say SCP like this. If I had used it previously, getting it? That is a shortcut. Else, if I even don't know what the SCP command is all about, I go look at the history and see which number it is, which order it is run, and then say exclamatory mark with that number. Getting it? Okay, fine. Everyone are with me until now? Or any questions that you have on how do I calculate these and all? Nothing, right? So if I want to remove some permission, what do I do? Just make subtraction there. Instead of addition, just subtract, cut short. Okay, there's nothing else. So if I want to remove the execute permission, I don't want to save, right? Okay, no, okay. Now if I want to remove the execute permission for this particular file, chmod is the command, 23.txt is the file name, but what should be the parameter of the argument? 7 is full. If I want to remove execute, 6. So can I say 666? Okay, now see, it has become the normal file again. It doesn't even have the star, it doesn't have the green, it doesn't even have the execute permission for 3 sets of people. Getting it? And next, while I'm here itself, let me also explain the other one. How many of you can remember this 4 plus 2 plus 1 all the time while you're at work? Difficult, right? So there is another shortcut for it as well. Not shortcut, that is like given as a provision. I spoke about user, group, and others. But for user, if I want to give some execute permission, if I want to give means what? Addition, right? So what I will try to do, I will use the same command chmod for which user? User, normal user. So it is you, and plus means providing additional. So plus x, x means execute. To what? That's all. I don't have to memorize the numbers and all. If I want to cut short, I will just say minus. It now becomes a normal file again. So that is the use of chmod. Okay. Getting it? Now, chmod that we use is for files and directories. Right? Same thing as a user, can I do for myself as well? Suppose I am working for some group in an organization today, and I am like getting bored after working for 3 years or so. Now I want to work on some other project, which means like my group name is getting changed. So there is some other command which should help me. What is it? GH. Change group. CHGRP. Ownership is for CH own. Suppose today it is with ownership called Ubuntu, right? But if I want to make it available for some root user or some other GV Nirmal, whoever is present in this particular system, that is the time I use ownership. But if I am changing my group itself from one business unit to something else, okay, user, whatever, username will remain the same, but only thing, the second one which is speaking about the group, the first one is about the username, second one is about the group. Okay, this group need to be changed. So I think I have some difficulty with the internet here. How to give permission? Okay, first of all, confirm whether you are able to see my screen or not. I think some hitches with the network are seen here. You're able to see my screen?
Yes, but only the particular,
Yes.
only the party session, not your internet.
Yeah, I'm showing you. Yes, I'm only showing you the console, nothing else. Okay. So if I have to change the group, I have to use something called as change group. But if I have to change the ownership of a file, I will have to use chown, which I'll show you right now. That's okay. But I'm just thinking whether I have to cover anything before. CMD, touch, echo, clear, date, time, CD, move. Okay. This is one command which I wanted to show. Okay, fine. So before we progress much deeper, there is one command that I will show you. I have one file called touch A, which means it's a simple file with A, right? But it is not invisible file. It's an visible file to everyone. But if I want to make it hidden, how do I make it? I just have to use move command. This is the only command that will help me rename a file also, right? So the source is A. The target I know, it should be hidden. So hidden files will also have a dot. So the only thing that I need to do is dot A. Okay, and then hit enter. Now you see, it is like dot. Okay, it is with dot A. Okay, only this person will be able to see it. But if someone else logs in, he will not be able to see. Okay, anything other than Ubuntu will not be able to see. Okay, that's the basic commands that copy did we speak CP. Okay, copy. Okay, suppose if I want to copy a file, CP this, I need source and target. So this is my source. If suppose I want to save it as .11.bkp, which is backup. Okay, the contents will be the same, but there will be two files. Okay, 10.backup and 11.backup. How do I know that there is a difference between these two or not? Just run diff command. It will not return anything. If there is a change, it will show me. Suppose if I make a modification, suppose vim 11.bkp. I made some modification, right? So I will run the same diff command. See what it told me. Previously was this, now it is this. Or previous means first file 10. 11 has this. What was there previously, what was removed, and then what is inserted. Redirection operator I will tell you, but understand for now that the first line, first column got changed. 1C1 means line and a column. I deleted the initial characters, right? So that is telling about that one. So diff command helps you find the difference between two or three files as well. Two files. Okay. Okay. And if I have to do recursive copy along with my directory at all to some other directory, along with the file names which are residing inside it, that is the time I have to use capital R. Okay, nothing else. So you give it a shot this time. I gave you a demonstration about CP simple command, but you go a little bit advanced. Use -R switch, which is for recursive copy, and this copy should do a copy of all the source directories as well as the files to a new location. Okay, so try it out. CP-R. I will give you this notepad file, so you will also remember. Okay, okay, keeping that aside. This is one set of basic commands. And someone was asking about permission. What is that you didn't understand? Ajinkya, can you repeat what you didn't understand? I'll repeat only the portion that you didn't understand. Or you want me to repeat the whole thing? So okay, message me when you are available, then I will just progress further. 776, okay, fine. See, read corresponds to 4 value, write corresponds to a value called 2, and execute corresponds to a value called 1. If I need to have read, write, execute all 3, I just need to sum all these values. If I want only a read and an execute permission, all that I have to do is add only relevant values, which is nothing but 4 plus 1. Okay. This is the same thing for 3 different people, user, groups, and others. Right. So if my meaning is 766, it is 7 for this guy, 6 for this group, and for others it is 6. How do I achieve 6? It is by 4 to 1 gives me 7, which means I gave him all the permissions, which is nothing but read, write, execute. Right? Or else I'll put this 7 also in front for your understanding. How do I achieve 6? It is because of my read and write only. So group has only read, write, but no execute. Suppose if he has only execute, which is means only 1. Okay. So what does he have? Only execute permission, which is 1. That's all. Okay, don't get confused. The other way to remember is, if you don't want to remember through numbers, U, G, O, U plus which permission you want to provide. That is the best, I will tell. Okay, if you don't want mathematics to be involved. Understood? All are sleepy. Yeah? What shall I do to make you awake? Give you chocolates, biscuits. Okay, we'll cover little and then take a break so that you all will not fall asleep. Okay. Okay, fine.
Yeah, Nirmal, I have one query.
Yes.
Actually, what is the use of hidden files? We are moving MV A2.a, right? Yeah. What is the use of hidden files?
What is the use of hidden files? Okay. As I showed you your home directory, it has lots of hidden files. This doesn't show you your hidden files, right? So if I say ls minus lrt only, you are able to see something called as profile files, bash rc file, bash logout something, and then your .ssh. So it's nothing but people should not directly or by mistake delete anything or make modifications to it.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, if I see that file directly like this, I will start to modify. But if I don't see anything hidden, what I will do? I will think that, okay, there is no hidden file, don't even bother about it. Okay, simplest reason, think that way only. But if I get to see something, I get tempted, I'll try to modify something. What is something inside? We'll get to see inside our houses as well, right? Same thing as well for Linux environments. The moment I see something, I want to explore. I want to make modification. I want to see what happens if I corrupt. That's the only intention, nothing else. For now, understand that much. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, okay, there is one command called tree. I don't know if it works here. Tree. Okay, it works. Basically, this command will not work for you in the first place. You need to install this utility. Okay. Why I took up this example is, tomorrow, after this Linux and shell programming is done, you will start to use Git, Jenkins, or whatsoever, and you people need to install some tools or binaries or whatever. Okay, you need to know what commands will help you install them. Irrespective of what the binary is, okay, you need to install any binary using a root account only, not as Ubuntu. Doesn't mean that Ubuntu can't install. Ubuntu is also an elevated user, he can also install, but all that you need to do is, you need to say sudo in front of every command. Okay, instead what I will do, sudo -i, I become as root user, and then say apt get, I want to install, right? So I will say install, and what tool or a binary I am trying to install. Suppose I am trying to install something called as tree itself, tree. I will install like this. This is the command formation. Okay. Suppose I want to update my system with latest packages of fixes, whatever is Ubuntu been providing me. What do I do? That's all. Okay. Sometimes it will ask you for yes or no questions. If I don't want to get prompted for providing another input as y, no, and all, that is the time you use minus y switch. Y is for yes. Okay. So remember this one basic command, and apt-get is what we call it out as package managers. I will tell you in detail, but understand that apt-get is a command or a utility again. It's a package manager. Okay. Nowadays, even apt-get is gone in Ubuntu latest versions. But if you people are using Ubuntu 14 or 16, that is the time when you need to use apt-get, or else it is just apt, no get at all. Okay. Now you see it is trying to do something. Okay. Got an understanding of this? Apt-get is for older version. Okay, my Ubuntu is 18.04 LTS. Yesterday we have picked up that particular instance from Amazon, right? If it is latest, use the latest package manager. Latest one is apt. If you people, especially you, I don't know which version you have installed, but if it is okay, but if it is older, you may have to slightly modify your command set. Okay. Okay. Now that I have installed something called tree or whatever, how do I install tree? I think I have done before here. Apt-get install tree, right? Which means I have now a utility called tree. Suppose tomorrow you open up your own environment where you don't find Vim at all, VI editor. What do? Simply come to root user, repeat the same command, install, and then say Vim. So, as because in my environment Vim is available, it is you are not able to see any difference, but for you it might ask you yes, no, or something. You just keep on pressing yes or no depending upon the question asked. Okay, this is how you install utilities as well. Okay, these all utilities are coming from a repository from where we will discuss that further later on. For now, how to install is only your botheration. Okay, getting it? Any questions till now? Nothing? All are comfortable till now? Okay, so let me see my document if I have anything detailed or anything. Nothing. This is the way to install, this is the way to upgrade, this is my base command. Okay, if I want to pass some argument or something, that is how I use -a. Okay, I don't have anything. Error output directory. Okay, so I have a directory called gfg. Underneath it I created demo1, demo2. Under demo2 folder I have created something called as sample. This command helps you to show you some directory structure so that you understand it in simpler manner, because all these days you would have been using Windows or anything as such. That is why it is giving you something similar to Windows environment. Okay, or else how do you navigate? I have to know what folders I have. Yes, I have gfg. Now I have to cd to this particular directory. Now I have to see what is inside it. Now I have to dig down into whether my demo2 has anything. This is the other alternative. This is difficult, right? So that is why tree command came into picture, existence. So that is one simple command that you can use. Getting it? Okay. So any questions till now? Any questions who joined online? Nothing. So we'll finish up with one small command called as ID. I as a person, with which user account I logged in. I logged in today as which user? Ubuntu. But if I want to know about the person Ubuntu, which role he has, which user account he has, which user ID he has, which group ID he has, and all, I should have some command to do it. So that command is nothing but ID. Okay. I think it is identity. I don't know the full form of it. Identity of a person. Go check Google, you'll get to know the full form also. But I think it is identity of a person. Which person here? Ubuntu. Okay. Now I get to see all this output. Which means what? My user ID is 1000, some value. Okay. GID means group ID. UID means user ID. Okay, just like how you have your employee ID, roll number and all, this person also has something in numeric format. Think through that way or no. Okay, I am attached to so many groups. Which groups? User, group, others we are saying, right? So which and all are the groups that I am tagged to? I added him to multiple groups called Ubuntu, Dialout, ADM. We don't get to use them every day in, day out, but just have an understanding that this person is tied up to so many groups. Okay, and that group also has a value, that is the one that is showing before the bracket. Getting it? So if you see this one, this is the permission set, the first one. Okay, this one is the user, this one is the group. Okay, this is the date and time at which this particular file has been first created or last modified, you can say. Okay, and this is the time. Okay, what file name it is. Getting it? So that is the deep dive kind of. Okay, suppose there are few more commands like who is the person who currently logged in into this particular machine. It is Ubuntu user. Okay, through which date, at what date and what time. Okay, suppose if I want to say who am I have only one person who logged in as Ubuntu, right? Suppose if you log in into the same machine as 2-3 like Ubuntu user itself, it will show me 2-3 rows here. Today it is only one. This one. Today onto this machine only I logged in as Ubuntu, so it is only showing one entry, right? But suppose if I give you the IP and Ubuntu username password tomorrow for you, and you also log in into the same machine and run the same who command, it will show me two entries saying that two people logged in into that machine and are working parallelly. But what is the difference between who and who am I? Who means in generic, who am I means me in particular. Okay, that is why it is telling me only about Ubuntu user, but not about anything called as details next to it. Understanding it? So these are the basic commands. Okay, all these commands we will be using in our shell programming later on after a week. So kindly remember whatever I teach you in this 1 week. Okay, so that's all for now. We will take a break right now. Most of the people here are feeling sleepy. So go take some 15 minutes, we'll be back. Okay. So we'll resume again at 10:05. Okay. Understand what? Okay. Let me pause the recording as well.
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh. Help me guys if I forget, or else you will lose some video. That's all. Okay. So the ownership has now changed to root, but still, if you see, the group name hasn't changed just because the person has changed. Person or the ownership has changed. File ownership, if we have to be more specific, the file ownership has changed from Ubuntu to root, but the group ownership remained the same. So this command will only help me in changing the ownership for a file or a directory. Okay, but if you see this one, okay, I am putting back to Ubuntu again from root. Okay, which file? Sample itself. Okay, but you see I have provided one more argument called -c, which means what? There should be some benefit, right? What is that benefit? You see, you notice and tell me at least. It's the same. Now it changed to Ubuntu from root. Output wise it is the same. Then what is the difference then? You mean to say this line?
Permissions have been.
Permissions are also the same, but it provided you some extra information, which means comment saying that changed ownership of so and so file from so and so user to so and so user. Previously it wasn't showing anything, it was quite simple, right? So that is the difference. -c means comment. Okay, it will tell you what it is trying to do for what file. Okay, so you explore more arguments. These are the simple commands which we daily use. Okay, but you can explore more options as well. Okay, so the next thing that I will show you is about not the ownership of the user. We will try to modify the group. Okay, group changing also can be done by ownership, but the way that I provide the argument is different. The way to do it is and then sample. Understand here that I used nothing here. I started off with colon, which means my intention is not to modify the username. My intention is only to modify the group. So here the username will remain the same. Okay, only the group name will change. Okay, with this. Why? No, wait, why? I need to use maybe sudo. Okay, now it became group as Vesvar. Okay, but my username remained the same. Okay. Don't know what. People, I request you who joined online to go on mute for some time, for at least 10 minutes. We'll finish up the class.
Nirmal, already group was created, Vesva, or it created by this command?
Yes. It is created. I will tell you how to create it now. Please hold on. Okay. So you got an understanding, right? So can I provide -c here to get to know what it did and all? Yes. So go back and try that option. Might be yes, might be no, because I don't know about it. So you go explore it, or else go through manual pages, man pages for this particular command. Understood? Okay. Now I want to do both at once, username as well as group in the same command. Sorry, not Control X, Control C. Okay. No, that I will add. Here it is Ubuntu, so I can change the permission to root, right? Previously it was Vesva. It is Vesva now. Doesn't matter. I can have the same name, right? So what I will do, correct? Okay. Root and Vesva. Okay. Now I will change back to Ubuntu for username as well as group, both in one single command itself. What is the command to use? Same command. Ubuntu column. So now the username as well as group will get changed. If there is no change, nothing will happen. If there is a change required, only then it will take it. Okay. Rest of the command is all same. Okay. Finished. Done. Okay. Now your question should be, who created the group? How do I create the group? Username I created using user add, but who created the group? Right? So for that is user add. It will add the user. Same way, add group is the command. Create a group and start using it. Okay. So again, can I create a group using Ubuntu user? Sorry.
Using sudo.
Oh, not understanding what you are saying. Okay. Getting it. Can I using what happened? I think it's a loose connection here. Okay. So can I create a group using the user called Ubuntu? Yes. Why? I can provide sudo and he has that elevated permission. So with the sudo word in the beginning, I can run that command. Supposingly that I don't want to run with sudo, or in my organization there is no user, okay, with elevated permission. Definite that I have to use root user only. So that is the time. That is the time I have to switch myself as root user and run that command. Which command? This one. Now, if I provide sudo or don't provide also remains the same. End result will not change. For root, anyway, he is super user only. Getting it? So, add group is the main thing that you need to notice. And what group name I am trying to create. As because Vesva is already available, it will say that is existing. You can create with Vesva 1. Okay. Now you can start to use Vesva 1 also in your Vesva for changing the group and all. Okay. Next thing. I said that we can change the group alone, right? So now change group comes into picture. It's not change ownership. Ownership is for modifying both if at one go. But if I want to modify only the group alone without the ownership change, persons change, simplify command should be there. So that is what is change group. Change ownership, change group. Else change ownership, username, column, group. There are a lot of varieties, but all will end up in the same result. Just like how you have so many trains to reach from one source to destination, here also the same thing. Why we are using these groups? Okay, good question. Suppose you have so many business units in your organization, and I don't want to place all of them in one group only. Just like your distribution list, you will have so many distribution lists, each created for each business unit, right? I will not put all of my engineers or 10,000 engineers working in the company all under one group. If there is anything specific that I want to let my team only know, I will use that DL. Similarly, this group as well. If I want to roll out any profile changes or anything as such, only to this group. Suppose my group uses Java 11 something as default. Should I make that change entirely for the entire organization or only for that particular group who uses that? Nothing else.
Can I delete that history?
Can I?
Delete.
Yes, we'll come to it. See, just like us, we have birth, we have existence, we have to die. Similarly, group also. We will create, we will use, we will delete. Okay?
Giving any specific permission or something to any user?
This is not specific to any permission. It is not a file or a folder to give, just a group creation. We are creating and picking up people sit under one group, that's all. There is no permission as such. Getting it?
Why if you are creating any user,
Okay.
one group also creating that, right?
No. Just like I told, it will be empty.
User ID,
While I create user add, I will show you that lengthier command. Wait. I have that because I didn't show you only for the reason that we didn't finish all. If you see this command, you're able to see this highlighted thing, right? So you see, user add is not just about user edition or user name edition. I need to provide the directory of his home directory. I need to provide to which group I need to add him. I need to add something called the default shell. You are able to see some numbers like UID, GID when I gave ID command. So I need to add that as well here. I need to say this is the comment. Comment is okay. Comment is similar like you create Windows users. You're from Windows, right? Windows background. You create users, user accounts. At the time of creation, you say which role he works or plays in the organization. System admin, document writer. You'll have to add that profile, right? You'll add all of the detail. That is nothing but the comment section here. Okay. And which user account I have to create. You'll create some, not his full name, like middle name, first name, last name, all that you won't create now. You'll create some eight character ID or something. That is this GV name at the end. Okay. But if I don't provide all of this, it will just create a user account. That is why we got to see no home directory being created. Understood? So this is the full set. Once after I complete the group section, I thought of like I'll cover this. Nothing else. Okay. So with this group, what we'll do, there is a lot to cover. Okay. Okay. So this is like recursive for all the files. If I want to change underneath one directory GFG. Okay. This is like change group only to this particular directory. The difference is this is a file, this is a directory, nothing else. Okay. This is like for a directory as well as files recursively for all the files underneath it. Okay. But the command remains the same, ch group. Now to delete a group, what it is? del group. That's all. User add, user del. Here it is add group, del group. That's all. Okay. I want to use this group still. Of course, I can recreate. You can try it out, del group or whatever, GRP, not group in full. Okay, that's all. Sorry.
The command is like del here.
GRP group. Okay, and I have covered this permission set. Okay. Okay, this is redirection. Maybe we can cover later on also. That's not a problem. This doesn't come under user creation or group creation or anything as such. We will talk about it later. So with this, we'll call it out a day for today.